Abusive relationships don't begin abusively. They grow, they develop.
It's a very meditative, zen-y place. You don't hear any of the outside world out here.
No traffic.
You just kind of hear your skates and hear yourself breathing.
Yeah.
And you stop thinking about stuff.
A lot of times your gut reactions are a warning signal that are a safety mechanism to try and protect you. And if you really listen to your gut reaction, rather than making excuses for it, believing that gut reaction.
Natalie was in a very turbulent relationship. In 2006, in May, at the end of her 3rd year, she had made some major decisions. She had moved from living alone, where I think she was a lot more vulnerable, and had moved into a student house where there were about 4 or 5 other students. They went out that evening as a group, and when they came back late in the night, that's when I think the final word was, "It's finished, goodbye." And even with 2 people at home and people downstairs, she was stabbed to death.
Last few years, my son, my grandson, and myself have walked in the Walk a Mile in Her Shoes event. And my son and I were out in the cabin, and we told Bradley what happened to his aunt, what happened to his father's sister. And he was 6 years old at the time, and his response was that nobody has the right to hurt anybody, and he's 6 years old. And somewhere along the line, we unlearned that.
We know that ourselves, neighbors of hers, co-workers of hers, friends of hers, all only knew tiny pieces. No one had a full picture. But each one of those pieces, had they been collaborated, had they been brought together, would have painted a picture that would have alarmed many people.
And in a perfect world, you like to have people together at a conference table and put the pieces together. And we have to almost create that kind of mindset where people can work together in the interest of protecting both the victim and ultimately saving the perpetrator, from themselves.
Education goes top to bottom. It's not just the education of our children that will help them, prevent them from being in these situations, but it's in the education of all the caregivers. There's still a ways to go in terms of our police, in terms of our courts, in terms of our judges, in terms of our attorneys, our crown attorneys, our defense attorneys, and our hospitals, our doctors. There's still a lot of education to be done.
It was very predictable and it was very preventable, because had those missed opportunities been picked up either through the education of the average person, such as a family or a friend, to know what the signs of an abusive, controlling relationship are, the problem is not enough of us know. And even if we do know, we're frightened and we're confused as to how to help.
One of the barriers is people don't want to get involved in somebody else's business, and they sometimes look the other way, but domestic violence is everyone's business.
My generation failed at protecting women. My son's generation didn't do any better, and now I hope my grandson's generation will be the generation that will now make the change. And I feel encouraged by what has been happening now.